Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Jonathan Owens here, another episode of The Word Spoken. Man, this episode today, I need to address all these things. And as you know, things has been going on with the Jayden Ivey situation. But I'm going to respond to both the pivot, that's Ryan Clark, Fred Taylor, Channing Crowder, and the Joe Budden podcast. I think they're highlighting something that I think is just unfortunate. Like, it makes me more disappointed when I hear, Ryan Clark and Channing Crowder and Fred Taylor, when they talk about this, and it's almost like they're regurgitating inaccuracies of things, and like, this is like, what do you mean? So we're gonna look at those clips because it just upsets me and disappoints me that people just discuss things about the Bible they don't understand. So let's get into it. Man, I'm gonna show these clips, and then you let me know, or in the comments later, what you think, but I'm just gonna break it down from my perspective.
And let me preface all this with, I ain't the religion expert. But today, where context matters, there's a lot of people in society using their religious beliefs to get off hate speech.
Yes, for sure.
And there are plenty of companies that have specific language in the contract to where they can clip you at the drop of a dime if they hear hate speech.
But stay there. I see both sides. But
And that was my first point. I was getting to the second point, but go ahead, please.
But sometimes what'll happen is you can have a critique of somebody and they'll call it hate speech when it's really not hate speech. You get what I'm saying? And so you can get fired. And that's what we see right now with cancel culture. You could say something, and then if somebody is powerful enough, they'll say, oh, that's hate speech. And it may not be hate speech.
I get that. I just don't think that's applicable in this situation.
I've been fired for that.
Yeah, and so no, that's the fine line I think you're referring to.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I could say, I'm just throwing one out here because we all, well, outside of Parks and Poe, we all black. So if somebody say something about a black person, like if a white person say something about a black person, it could be critiquing the person. It don't necessarily have to be, yo, that person is a bigot or that person is a racist. And that's what we do today in society. So when you start playing with people's freedom of speech, now, if you work for me and you representing my team, you got to go. I'm not mad at that.
Okay.
But I'm not
that's
mad at that because you signed on for the team. But I still, to Mark's point, don't believe that we should be policing people's
It just makes me a little uneasy.
freedom of speech.
But you're not policing anybody at work.
True. No,
At work.
So they get into this a little bit more, and they go in, and then Mark Lamont Hill goes into more about like how this happened to him. He got fired for what he said, and I believe it was about the Palestine Jewish or dynamic. I think it was about that. So, and he got fired. So the issue is this: like, you can look at the full their full podcast, but this idea of hate speech, and this is the understanding that why Christians should be so careful today. I'm not careful. Like, Jesus said this was gonna happen, but you got to be willing to fight. You got to be willing to stand strong in the Lord and the power of His might, because, like, you don't get to come and say what I'm doing is hate speech if the person is simply just saying, "Hey, this is what I believe." Who said I hated anyone? Who said I hated anyone? It makes no sense. So you basically tell me you get to use your policy or whatever to say, "Oh, I don't like what you said." Like that's you saying. And now, or I can say, you're discriminating against me for having a belief, and then they go on the podcast and say, "Oh, you can have your belief, but then if you start speaking about somebody else's, like it makes no that's illogical." Why? Because everyone believes about things. They naturally come against other people's beliefs. That's naturally how it is. It could be Muslim. They don't think Jesus is God. It could be Hinduism. They don't think that, like, there's like one single God. Or it could be, Jews. They don't believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. They believe that he was a false Messiah. So you like look at every person's belief. It could be the LGBT community. They don't believe that marriage between one man and one woman is correct. They believe that it should be different. Everyone's belief, because it's trying to stand on truth, automatically ostracizes every other person's faith or belief. So you can't say that, oh, you can have your belief, but if it starts to speak against somebody else's, you naturally having a belief is automatically going to oppose other people's beliefs. That's just how it goes, because you're both trying to stand on truth. But the question is, everything can't be true. If I say something that I know is right, the other person says something they feel like they believe is right. Both can't be true. That's a logical fallacy to say both are true. If I'm speaking my thing and calling it the truth, you're saying this is the truth. Both of them can't be the truth, because there's only one the truth. So this understanding of hate speech, it's like, what are you talking about here? Like, so let's look at the other clip, because this is what gets me like even more hyped up. Let's look at the pivot and see what they're talking about.
Use religion and they take what they want out of scripture and try to make it to their narrative. Jesus is love. We heard that. I'm a Baptist. Jesus is love. He loves every human. In his he was, what was it? They were made in his body,
in his likeness.
In his likeness.
Yep.
What does it matter? There are people out there that don't like Black History Month. There's people out there that don't like Women's Month. There's people out there that don't like LGBTQ plus month. Let people live. What does it matter who they're dating? What does it matter who they...
Okay, so just taking a quick pause, and then that's Channing's take. He says more, but we're getting at the part where he's saying about love, which is, on the same wavelength as hate speech, because he's saying, oh, Jesus is love, so the opposite of hate speech. So let's look at Ryan Clark's.
He played more than 33 games last year, if he had played more than 30 games the year before, if he didn't have the injury history that he had, he could say what he want, probably do what he want, get a slap on the wrist and be right back. He's not on the team because he's no longer good at basketball. And in not being good at basketball, you don't have the tolerance that great talent provides you. That's why he's gone. Now let's talk about the Christianity piece of it, because so many times we use Christianity, and we see that more and more in today's society. We use Christianity to veil the hate and the evil that we want to spew, because people feel like if I say it comes from God, or if I can point to where it is in the Bible, now I'm bulletproof, right? Where in Matthew 22:37 through 39, it talks about the golden rule, right? It's love God, right? First, and then it's love your neighbor as you would love yourself. Like that's what we are told to do. And so to go on a rant about religion, to be questioning other people's religion, and then talk about the NBA's involvement with the LGBTQ community, knowing.
Okay, so man, oh my goodness. So, so this is the problem. So Channing, let's start with Channing first. I'm so sorry, man. I mean, you're not even sure about what you're saying. You're just not sure. Hey, you don't know about what love is and what it means, and you're talking about made in the image of God, and it's like that has nothing to do with the issue that is happening. It's completely different. It's completely different. That simply just means that all humans have value. That's different than saying that something is right or wrong. That means we cannot disrespect nobody, anyone. We can't, like, you try to murder someone, you try to hurt someone. Like, everyone's made in the image of God, so they deserve respect. That's different than this issue of talking about love. It was Paul, 1 Corinthians 13, that said, love does not rejoice in sin or iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. So true love rejoices in the truth. So that's the end of that. For Ryan Clark, I'm so sorry, man. You're supposed to be the one that people are saying that that knows these issues, and you quoted Matthew, and it's like with no context, no rest of the Bible, and then you just said that he spewed the hate and the like vitriol, whatever, to use God told me. Like, what are you saying? I literally don't understand what you're saying at all. What is the point you're making? Because quoting that one passage, you're gonna say that they're spewing hate and vitriol from deep within them, saying God told me. Oh, you're gonna say that for every major biblical believing amazing man of God? You're gonna say they had hate and vitriol in them too? You're gonna say Dr. Tony Evans, John MacArthur, you're gonna say Vodi Bakum, you're gonna say, Charles Stanley, you're gonna say, Piper, you're gonna say all these men have vitriol and hate in their heart, huh? Because they believe the same way on marriage. So all of them are spewing the hate and the vitriol out of their heart when they just say it's in the name of God. That's what I'm saying. You're not making sense. Like it's and the fact that you even mentioned that if he was a Anthony Edwards or a superstar, that he would not be fired, that just makes it all the more hypocritical. You're saying that he won't be fired or let go of the job, even saying these things. So that means he has even more a gripe of discrimination, meaning not only are you discriminating against what I believe, you're doing it indiscriminately, because you wouldn't have fired me if I was putting a bucket still for you. So that's the part that makes it even worse. And I hope he sue, because and it most likely may go to a settlement or something like that, because they know they was wrong. If you take this to the Supreme Court and say, hey, you discriminated against me on a stance that I believe, that meaning like he's saying that he believes. So that's what I'm trying to get in. Like, what part of it was it hate? I hope you're not saying that you believe something opposite. I hope that you're not saying that you also don't believe that marriage between a man and woman and everything. So if you're saying that what he's saying is hate, then do you believe the opposite? And if you believe the opposite, then I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, then you're not a believer. That's what I'm like. And when he talked about Steph Curry not truly being a believer, he started going to these different rants on the airport and all these different things. I looked at some of it. Like, part of it is Jayden works on himself and gets wisdom and when to do it, how to do it, and he works on that. He works on that himself. Like, that wasn't the best place to do that at the airport while you're in the middle of roll call or whatever the case may be. Like, they on the intercom. Like, so that part is mental, meaning he needs to choose his spots better. But as far as like what he's saying, that has nothing to do with his mental acuity or his health in that aspect. Because like he is no different. It's no different. Steph Curry is the same way. If he's standing on what I heard him stand on about his promoting the abortion issue, whatever the case it may be, if those are his stances, what he said, I heard him say it, then unfortunately Romans 1 calls him the same way as the same people who do it. He's like, Paul said, not only those who do this, but those who approve of those who do it are worthy. So it's not like he's far off. So if you're going to have a biblical conversation, then that's what, come see me. Like, I don't care about having a world conversation, but if you're going to have a biblical conversation, you're going to have it with, and you're going to have to know what you're talking about, because I'm so sorry that you're not understanding this. And that's why I'm concerned. If you feel the opposite what he feels, then you got to re-examine your own faith, because this We talking about core things. We talking about core things. Now, if you're saying that the way he did it, it was spewing not love and hate. I mean, the way he was doing it, going about it, was spewing hate or whatever, which I don't think you were doing it that way. But if you were, then yes, I can understand that. Why? Because the Bible tells us in Ephesians 4. Look at this. And it says, and he himself gave some to be apostles, some prophets, evangelists, some pastors and teachers, for the equipping of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come into the unity of the faith and the knowledge of the Son of God, to be perfect man, to be a perfect man, to be a measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, that we should no longer be children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the trickery of men in the cunning craftiness of deceitful plotting, but speaking the truth in love may grow up in all things into him who is the head, Christ. So it's ironic that Paul is saying that, hey, we want to, understand that idea that people come with these different things, trying to twist truth, trying to twist God's word, or doing this, but we got to share the truth in love. So the only critique you can give Jayden is, did he share the truth in love? And you always share the truth in love. How do you do that? You simply say, hey man, this is X, Y, and Z. You come in a calm manner, in a calm tone, but X, Y, and Z requires this because this is what God has said. And I'm just so sick and tired of this understanding of, love. You said love thy neighbor, love. Like, what are you talking about? See, this is Christianity fundamental 101. Like, this is ridiculous. This is 101. It's so sad. Like, you talking about man's love. Read 1 Corinthians 13 and you'll see what godly love is. Now I want you to read the part. You don't rejoice in iniquity and sin, but love rejoices in truth. What is that truth? Romans 1 tells you what the truth is and how people try to twist the truth. So please, you can't keep going out there saying Christianity, you are this, but yet you don't speak the things. And so ironically, everybody who says, and that's what I gather, everybody who says what Jayden Ivey says, you're saying that they speaking hateful and vitriol in them and saying that because it comes from God, which it comes from the Bible, which is God, meaning like his words. So everybody who does that is speaking hate. I mean, that's what I got from you, because you got this is the mainstream belief of Christianity. Like if you saying it's something opposite, then you got to check yourself. Man, I mean, I know it might not never happen, but man, a conversation, I'd love to have that with you all, because like I really want you to describe and explain what was hate, like the belief itself or the way he portrayed it. If it's talking about the belief itself, I'm so sorry. Then you misunderstood, and I'm truly sad for you. So yeah, man. I hope you all enjoyed this episode today, man. This issue is only gonna get crazier and crazier. So I'll catch y'all next time, Lord's willing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.